and Pluto. What is up, Alien Army? I am Oculus, the alien next door, purveyor of esoteric lore. And on this channel, we discuss everything out of this world. So today's topic, we're going to be talking a little bit about Mars and Pluto. Now, I do have other videos about Mars and about Pluto, which are going to be separate from this, but I do have a few videos about how Uranus and Neptune are basically like working together in the chart, and I do have other videos about how other planets work together in the chart. So I am going to be exploring Mars and Pluto, how they work together in the chart, because Mars is the lower octave of the planet Pluto. So the two of them have a similar energy. It's just that Mars is going to be expressed more via the avenue of the ego, and Pluto is going to be expressed via the avenue more likened to the soul's evolutionary response. So Mars, dynamic, quick, reacts from ego point, and wherever anyone's Mars in their chart is, that is going to be how their ego is going to express itself outwardly. That is going to be the sun if we take in information, how it affects the ego sun, and our reaction is going to be via the planet Mars. So the difference betwixt Mars and Pluto is that Mars energy is more reactive, right? That's how the planet Mars in astrology behaves. He is reactionary, he is a warrior, he is someone who leaps without looking. Whereas Pluto, the higher octave of Mars, is still connected to the ego, but it's more of taking the previous Mars reactions. Let's say someone who is earlier along in their journey, they're going to be reacting the way Mars in their chart would display. Pluto is going to be, as they progress along their journey, Pluto is going to start taking over that Mars. So Pluto is more of learning from past ego reactions, transforming it, incorporating what worked, what didn't, into their psyche, because it's more of a soul level, because Pluto is a universal planet and Mars is a personal planet. So Pluto, let's say an instance occurs. Now, we have Mars and Pluto in the chart. No matter where the individual is along their journey, Mars and Pluto are both going to take in whatever it was. Mars is going to jump, leap without looking into whatever reaction they are going to have. Whereas Pluto is taking in that same action, but at the same time that Mars is displaying physically, Pluto is going to be internalizing that and looking at how they can change that reaction into a response, so that their response in time to an ego trigger is going to be more beneficial to them. So Pluto is really studying Mars. What worked in this display of reaction? What didn't? Pluto incorporates and then begins to transform the personality. Now, that same trigger that, let's say, occurred 3 years ago when someone reacted with the energy of Mars, that same trigger might present itself 3 years later. And now, because they have evolved, remember Pluto, evolution, higher octave of Mars, it internalized Mars, took it in. Now it sees that same trigger, but it's this time Pluto in the personality, however Pluto is functioning in the native's chart, is going to respond to that. So if we want to think of someone who is earlier along in their journey, typically the sun sign ego is going to be triggered, and then that's going to filter through the expression of that trigger outwardly via the actions of Mars. But depending on where they are in their journey, if they are less evolved, that Mars is going to show itself, it's going to rear its ugly head, so to speak, and Pluto is just going to be kind of in the background observing, like taking it all in emotionally. How can I change this? How can I transform this to better whatever situation that is, right? So Pluto has like a big memory bank, whereas Mars is just quick in the fucking moment. So someone that is progressed earlier along in their journey, they might want to initially knee-jerk react the way their Mars is, but because their Pluto, that higher octave of Mars, has conducted studies saying, well, this reaction got me here, that reaction got me there, how can I take it all in to better this for myself, to transform myself, to always get a stellar fucking reaction or response, whatever is going on in my physical realm domain. So if someone is along on their journey and they have already revolutionized their perception of how their temper is going to display itself, now that more evolved motherfucker is going to start responding via the avenue of Pluto instead of reacting the way Mars would. This can be for a whole multitude of different type of situations, scenarios, and circumstances, but the key thing to remember is that the ego sun is going to potentially be triggered, and then that's going to trickle down. How is that reaction to the trigger expressed via Mars? But as they progress along their journey, it's Pluto that Mars might be bypassed, okay? Like Mars is still going to function when Mars needs to function, but now it's functioning under the control of Pluto. So Pluto is observing whatever triggered the ego. The sun is seeing Mars, and now instead of Mars just whoosh, like quick, that quick temper shit, Pluto is going to observe Mars and be like, we learned from that, allow me. And then so it might still come out with the filter of the Mars sign, but it's going to be the higher octave, the higher perspective of Pluto. That's the driving force of it. So a brief example, let's say someone has Mars in Cancer, okay? And this could be any sign, any house placement, you know, it's going to vary from individual to individual, but they have Mars in Cancer earlier along in their journey. Let's say they have Sun in Cancer too. So their ego and their reaction is going to be whoosh, without thinking, quick, visceral, knee-jerk reaction. That ego triggered, boom, trickles down to Mars, boom, Mars reacts. Let's say they have Pluto in Scorpio. So they have Pluto in Scorpio, and what's going to happen is that now instead of that individual being triggered and then having a knee-jerk quick reaction, lightning fast reaction the way that Cancer Mars would, that Scorpio energy with Pluto is going to come in and it's going to harness the energy of the Mars sign, which would, let's say in this instance, be Cancer, and it's going to lend Pluto in Scorpio qualities to it. Whereas earlier in their journey, if someone is triggered, they're reacting, boom, Cancer. However, a Cancer Mars is going to react to something, it's still the same. Like, you're not going to remove the Cancer Mars, it's always going to be there, but it's going to come powered by Pluto in Scorpio. And this could be for, I just use Pluto in Scorpio because it's very prevalent at this time in whatever 2021, right? But that could be for anything. It could be Pluto in Libra, it could be Pluto in Sagittarius. However, it's going to blend that Plutonian quality to that Mars. So the Mars is going to still express itself via the personality through Cancer, right? It's going to be Cancerian in nature, but it's going to be powered by that Pluto in Scorpio. So it's going to have a different type of response. And of course, Pluto is a generational planet, so you really want, because how many motherfuckers have Pluto in Scorpio, right? But it's really going to matter, like the aspects to Pluto. It's going to matter the house placement as well, because Pluto in Scorpio, sure, a whole generation has that, but it's really how that Pluto is placed in the chart. A Pluto placed in the first house is going to blend a different quality to that Cancer Mars than a Pluto in the sixth house. So you really want to take into consideration the house placement of that Pluto, because you ain't going to hide from the house placement. The house placement of the generational, the higher octave planets, Pluto, Uranus, Neptune, they're the higher octaves. They stay in signs for a long period of time. They are known as the universals. So it's more important, astrologically speaking, to look at the aspects and look at the house placements of the big three generational ones. So just to go over it one more time, we have someone who is earlier along in their journey, their sun, their ego, boop, he gets triggered. Now that knee-jerk reaction, immediate, quick, Mars is quick, that's going to be their initial whoosh, outward reaction, their outward display of reaction, no matter what sign he's in. Boom. They're going to do that. Whereas someone who is further along, further evolved on their journey, it's going to be, Pluto is going to look at that Mars placement and be like, you respond this way. And then it's going to power that up. It's going to charge up that Mars placement. So it's more of a response with the blend of that Pluto placement, the house placement, and a blend of that Mars aspect. Because remember, we're not counterbalancing the Mars here. We're just powering it up. We're charging up the Mars placement with Pluto. And this essentially works as well for Neptune and Venus, because Neptune is a higher octave of Venus. It works as well for Uranus and Mercury, because Uranus is a higher octave of Mercury. I think I might have spoken about a few of these others before, but I know that I didn't speak about Mars and Pluto together, how they work, so that's why I made this motherfucking video. That's what I got for you today. I am Oculus, the alien next door. We will chit chat again soon.